The search and rescue mission at a collapsed Florida condominium has been suspended as a crew prepares for the demolition of the remainder of the building. Fire officials told family members rescuers stopped their search about 4 p.m. Saturday when demolition crews began boring holes into the concrete of the still standing portion of the Champlain Towers South in Surfside. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett said removing it will actually help rescue workers.
That will allow our rescue workers to pour all over the entire site without fear of any danger from falling debris or falling buildings.
Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava said Saturday that 2 more bodies were found in the rubble, bringing the number of confirmed dead to 24. The number of people who remain unaccounted for in the collapse was 124. No one has been found alive in the rubble of the building since the first hours after its collapse last week. Hurricane Elsa fell back to a tropical storm but is churning its way toward Florida. AP's Mike Hempen reports.
Elsa has passed Haiti and the Dominican Republic and threatens to unleash flooding and landslides. It had been a Category 1 hurricane early Saturday, but weakened as it approached Cuba. National Hurricane Center specialist Andy Latto says the storm should reach Florida by Monday.
Crossing Cuba Sunday night into Monday. And at that point, it'll be approaching somewhere maybe towards the Florida Keys.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state will be ready.
We're preparing for the risk of isolated tornadoes, storm surge, heavy rainfall, and flash flooding.
Forecasters expect Elsa to still be a tropical storm when it reaches Florida. However, some models show it heading into the Gulf or up the Atlantic coast. I'm Mike Hempen.
Protests against President Jair Bolsonaro spread across Brazil on Saturday, one day after a Supreme Court justice authorized a criminal investigation into his response to allegations of political corruption involving a vaccine deal. Demonstrators gathered by the hundreds or thousands in more than 40 cities to demand Bolsonaro's impeachment or greater access to vaccines against COVID-19. The protests are the latest sign of mounting pressure on Bolsonaro, who has routinely dismissed the severity of COVID-19. In Friday's decision, Supreme Court Justice Rosa Weber said recent testimony in a Senate committee investigating the government's handling of the pandemic supports a criminal probe. Prosecutors will be looking into whether Bolsonaro committed the crime of prevarication, which entails delaying or refraining from action required as part of a public official's duty for reasons of personal interest. At least 2 people were feared dead on Saturday after landslides triggered by heavy rains hit the central Japanese city of Atami, where about 20 people were still missing. Lauren Anthony of Reuters reports.
Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga convened an emergency task force to tackle the crisis. He assured the public that rescue efforts were ongoing and encouraged those in the area to stay alert. The floods are a reminder of the natural disasters that plague Japan, including earthquakes, volcanoes and tsunamis. The country's capital, Tokyo, is set to host the Summer Olympics starting this month. Drone footage aired by NHK showed collapsed and half-submerged houses as water dashed the city with mud and debris. Social media images showed partially sunken cars and rescue workers wading through waist-high water with a small life raft. Japan's military sent emergency rescuers to the city, where NHK said about 80 people were evacuated.
That's Reuters' Lauren Anthony. South Africa's highest court has agreed to hear former President Jacob Zuma's challenge against the 15-month jail term it gave him for failing to attend a corruption hearing, the South African Broadcasting Corporation reported Saturday. The Constitutional Court last Tuesday had sentenced Zuma to 15 months in jail for avoiding an inquiry earlier this year led by the country's Deputy Chief Justice. That order is now suspended. Zuma had asked the court to annul the sentence on the grounds it is excessive and could expose him to COVID-19. The former South African president also called the sentence a political statement of exemplary punishment.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.